Dawn. So this is a short video to help a friend of ours in SPG that's all the way up in Canada, and she asked for some hip openers and she has some issues with stuff, so I decided to make something really simple that could be done in like one area using really simple props like any sort of blanket that you have. As you may notice, I'm in my backyard and it's kind of lumpy and it's, you know, it's not the optimal sliding surface. I have a mat down, but if you had a hardwood floor that was flat, or basically any wood floor that wasn't like carpeted or had a lot of texture to it, you would have more sliding capacity for your blanket on the top, which is good. Second prop that you're going to need is a belt. And the best prop of all, I like the concept of the world as your propage, but is a wall. So just find a wall. So you're going to bring your sliding blanket, your belt, and yourself to a wall. The first exercise that we're going to do is called legs up the wall. It's a really simple hamstring stretch where you're very restorative. You don't really have to do anything very much. You're just going to lay so that your butt gets as close to the wall as humanly possible. From there, I'm going to take my heels into the wall. I'm keeping my knees a little bit bent, drawing my feet down, and from there I'm going to try and draw my tailbone down into that corner. So I'm getting a really deep angle here. And then I'm going to bring my feet in. Now, if you have really tight calves and it makes your feet kind of pull up like this, a good trick here is you could either put like a sandbag or a weight or something that was heavy on your feet. Now, don't use like a metal heavy weight in case it falls. Not super comfy. Another really good thing to do is if you grab your belts, it could be yoga belt, jiu-jitsu belt, any kind of belt, doesn't matter. And you're going to put it around your feet. You can bend your knees to draw your knees in, put it around your feet. Now from here, I'm going to make sure that my hands are straight, draw the shoulders down towards the floor, press into my heels, and then from there I can start to walk my hands up the belt and draw my feet in closer. Or you can leave the feet on, and if it's just about the calves, you can really just draw the toes down, 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 down. So really drawing the toes down. So this is the first exercise. You're going to want to stay here for about 1 to 3 minutes. So I'm not going to give you a specific time frame. 3 minutes is optimal, but you may not want to spend that much time throughout the entire sequence. It adds up, so you can spend 1 minute here. The second step, you're going to let go of your belt, and you're going to split the legs. And as you split the legs, there's a natural external rotation that happens, meaning the front of the thigh is going to start to turn out. So as I start to bring the feet out to the side, they're going to start to want to turn, so my toes are turning down towards the floor. External rotation, the front of the thigh is turning out towards the side. I'm going to spend another, bugs. You're going to spend another minute to 3 minutes here. And just kind of let gravity help you slowly work deeper and deeper into it. Try to keep your legs active, toes pointing down towards the floor. You should feel a pretty intense stretch on the inner thigh, hamstrings, even the calves if your calves are tight. Exercise number 3. Now, here, that flat surface is going to be extra handy, so I'm on a wobbly one and on a sticky mat. You're going to bring your feet together, place your soles of your feet on the wall, and then from there you're going to grab the tops of your blanket. Grabbing the tops of the blanket, you're going to press the feet into the wall. And this is not a good example because I am not on the optimal surface. You're going to push yourself away until your hips are underneath your knees. Now from here, I'm going to kind of activate my belly and everything, make sure I'm nice and stable everywhere. But what I'm really going to do is I'm going to maintain this 90-degree angle in the knees. Draw my feet off the wall, keep the flexion in my feet as well. Drop my legs as far as they want to go and place them back on the wall. Hopefully your wall doesn't have a weird beam right where your feet land like mine does. But what you want to pay attention to is that you want your feet to be at the same trajectory as your thigh bone. So you don't want your feet to be turning too far out because you're twerking your knee, and you don't want to be turning in. You want to be the same trajectory as your thigh bone. So when you look at the angle of your thigh, and you were to look at your foot, it should be in the same line. Second point is you want to imagine that the wall is the floor and that your knees are above your ankles, so that my ankle should be parallel to my knees as how it relates to the floor. So this is exercise number 2, 3, 4. Alright, so number 4. Now from here, if I want to, I can either just hang out, let gravity do the work for me, or if I want to intensify it, I'm going to draw my belly button down towards the floor, and you notice how that lifts my hips and draws the tailbone towards the wall. And from there, I'm going to use the muscles in my buttocks really to help draw the knees further down. You can start to walk your feet further down the wall as well. It's a nice restorative kind of hip opener. You can either just chill, or you can work. Chill or work. Either way, it's going to get a little bit more open. So, exercise number 5. This one gets a little bit more complicated. The main reason why it's complicated is you're going to come back to that position of number 3 where you have your feet together at the wall. But from here, the distance from the wall, your distance management from the wall makes a big difference on how the exercise is going to affect the stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw one knee in, and then you're going to start to turn in the hip socket. So you're turning in the hip socket, turn the knee out to the side, and then place your ankle on the inside but below the knee. Now, if you already have a stretch here, you're going to hang out here. If you have no stretch whatsoever right here, you need to move a little bit closer to the wall. A little bit closer to the wall. Okay, I'm starting to feel a tiny, tiny, tiny minuscule amount of resistance in my body. So what I'm going to do now is I'm trying to maintain a straight line down this side of my body, through the hip, through the knee, through the foot. I don't want this hip to jut out to the side. I want to keep a nice straight line here. The second part is I'm going to place my hand on the inner thigh, not my knee, on the inner thigh, and help this thigh rotate as I press it away from me. And you should intensify the stretch. If this is not enough for you, either move closer to the wall. There is an extra trick to it that I will show you next week on how to intensify this one as well. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. Super awesome fun time. And then you're going to repeat it on the other side, since this is only a one-sided exercise. So again, straight line all the way down the right side of my body, through the hip, through the knee, all the way to the foot. And then where I place my hands, not on the knee, on the inner thigh, and I'm going to help this leg rotate in the hip socket and kind of press it away from me until I start to get a stretch that runs down kind of through the outside line here. So, next exercise, which is which one, Viva?
Supta Padangustasana.
Okay, I don't remember its number, but Supta Padangustasana, or laying down toe in hand pose. It's very glorious Sanskrit words here. Alright, so for this one you definitely need your belt, and as you come into it, you still hopefully have a sliding nice surface. You're going to bring your heels down towards the floor, kind of inch yourself away, but you want to keep a little bit of buoyancy or bend in the knees. Now I don't have a good surface to press against as this is kind of bendy, but I'm going to do my best for you. So I'm going to take my belt, whether it's a jiu-jitsu belt, whatever type of belt it is, and I'm going to loop it around my leg. I'm going to show it from the left side first. So I'm going to keep that bend in my right leg, draw the left knee in, flex my foot, wrap the belt around, hold on to it with the opposite side hand. Now, standing leg, or the leg that's on the wall, if you were doing this upright, would be a standing leg. I'm going to press into that heel, straighten that leg, and from there, draw this shoulder down towards the floor and this hip away from me. So here you have a nice basic hamstring stretch. There's 3 extra components to this for the hip opening actions. Number 2, so this is number 1, slowly I'm just going to work this foot closer and closer and closer towards me as I'm stomping this heel into the floor, drawing the shoulder down and moving the hip away from me. Now for action 2, I'm going to grab the belt with the same side hand, the hand of the opposite hip of the standing leg, so I'm going to go to the hip to keep it grounded towards the floor. And as I start to bring the leg over to the side, I want to do the same thing that I do with split legs, and start to turn the toes out a little bit and bring them down towards the floor. Keep stomping the opposite leg towards the floor. I'm on a very slanted surface here. So here you get an extra nice hip opening. Try to keep this arm straight. Very fancy stuff, Dawn. And whoever else is watching. Now, number 3, you're going to hold onto the belt with the opposite hand. You're going to make a little V with the same side hand. You're going to put it onto the top of the hip, and you're going to kind of push out to the side and down to move the hip or the top of the femur away from my torso. From there, I'm going to draw the foot in, stomp down through the standing leg, and then start to draw the foot over to the side. And I will say this is one of the most uncomfortable stretches you can ever experience, but just means it's more necessary. So it's going to give you like this weird, really kind of dense, uncomfortable stretch running down the side of your leg and out into the back of your pelvis here, kind of through the back of the buttocks. Now for your last one, probably the most relaxing one, your restorative pose of the day, you're going to scoot yourself back towards the wall. Doop, doop, doop. However you do that, and preferably on a better surface. And you're going to bring your feet to Supta Padangusthasana, meaning you're going to butterfly your feet and you're going to place the soles of your feet together and relax onto the floor. And then from there take your hands not to your knees but to the thighs, and you can kind of sort of press them away from you a little bit. Kind of rock in and out of it a little bit, play with it, and then after a while just kind of stop monkeying around, lay down and relax. So this is your first sequence. Try it out. Remember that there's a couple of the 3 points that I already told you about when I was writing to you. Number one is stretching or movement of the body should be as intuitive as possible. So if you know there's something that's tight that you want to stretch in your body, try moving around and see what you feel. And if you feel a stretch in the areas that you know that are tight, or if you feel a stretch anywhere in your body, and you can breathe into it and you can relax, generally that's a good thing and it's going to be beneficial for you. Number two, duration. Don't go into a stretch, stay there for 10 seconds and then leave out of it. Because essentially what happens when you're stretching is the muscle is lengthening, being pulled apart. And when it starts to realize that it's getting stretched, it's sending signals to the brain going, it's turning off. It's sending signals to the brain going, holy shit, I can't hold this, I'm going to tear. And so the brain is going, okay, hold on tight. So the muscle grips, and it grips, and it grips, and it fights the stretch. After about a minute to 3 minutes, depending on how strong and tight and how big the muscle group is, it starts to go, I can't hold this forever. And it tells the brain, I can't hold this anymore. And the brain goes, I'm going to give you some relaxant. And when the brain gives you that relaxant, that muscle's going to let go. And you may feel it in the rest of your body and in your mind as well. You have to wait for that. So you have to be patient.
Are we going to have time?
The kids are calling us. We have to go. I hope this works for you.
Are we going to have time
I'll
for
see you
the
in a week.
pool ever again?